Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the Parfect Partners program. On this week's episode, we're going to go over some putting and chipping, as well as how to keep the area around the greens in really good conditions. We're sorry for the technical difficulties we had last week. Unfortunately, with so many people working from home, our Wi-Fi is not always the greatest. So we hope this week is a little bit better. But thanks for sticking with us through all of this.
Okay, so this week we are covering our short games. A lot of times people don't realize the importance of your short game when you're learning how to golf. Chipping and putting specifically makes up 50% of your game. Golfers need to spend more time in this. People are always wanting to show off their skills and hit the long drives, and we love the sound it makes and how far it hits, but the saying goes, drive for show, putt for dough. The drives look great, but the true score is always going to come from your short game. So I've got a video here for you going over the setup for putting, and you can check it out now. We're going to cover your putting setup. It's very important to focus on your posture at first. So I want you to stand really tall, hinge at the hips, and if you were to drop a golf ball from your left eye, if you're a right-handed golfer, you'd hit this golf ball. If you're back too far, then it's very easy for you to get really wristy in your stroke, and we don't want that. We want our arms to kind of hang like elephant trunks, okay? Also, we want to make sure that our stroke is equal on both sides. Beginner golfers have a tendency to take it way back and sort of stab at it, or they want to see where it goes and they turn and reach towards their ball. We want our chest to face our golf ball the entire time. So I really want you to focus on trying to keep your stroke equal on both sides, and I like to do that by counting to 2 with my head. So I like to set my putter, then my feet, take my stroke, and count 1, 2 before I look up. Okay, so I hope that gives you a good understanding of the importance of setting up and really making sure that you keep your head still and that you're using your shoulders and not your wrists when you're putting. Now, to fine-tune your skills, I've got 2 at-home drills that you can do to build up your confidence so you know what to practice when you do come out to the putting green, or you have a better understanding when you do come out on the course. So check out these 2 at-home videos here. Hey everyone, PGA of Canada Golf Professional Ashley Gravitt here with your bowling exercise. So whether you're a 5-pin or a 10-pin stud, this is a great exercise for you to practice at home. You can practice it on carpet, on a yoga mat, on your wood floor to get your different speeds. Now this drill is really working on your aiming, and as you can see, I have 5 pins set up. You're going to use 6 golf balls, and you're going to try and get all 5 pins down in 6 tries. Okay, or less. So here we go. I'll just demonstrate one for you. So you set up, and you're gonna put it. Whoop, sweet, and I hit 1. Okay, so then what you're gonna do is you're gonna go through the whole exercise, and again, the goal is to get all 5 pins down in 6 or less golf balls. Good luck. For you is my 2-book challenge. You'll notice here I have 2 books that are about the same size that I've placed on the floor, and all you're going to do is set your putter in between. So there's hardly any room on either side of the putter head. And what you're going to do is your first thought is to set your putter, then your feet, then you're going to work on your stroke. Now it's very important that we keep our lower body nice and stable during the putting stroke. If you're rotating it, then you'll notice that when you go to come through, you'll hit one of the books. So we want to keep our lower body nice and stable. This will help make sure that your ball starts on your line that you intended it to. So once you get comfortable with that, you can add a golf ball, and you're going to set your putter, then your feet, and you're going to stroke it, and try not to hit either of the books. Now the next level is simply to add a cup or a little stuffed animal or something that you want to putt towards, and practice it that way. All right, happy practicing.
Thanks, Ashley. Those were really great. So everyone, work on your short game. So just to kind of build on that and reiterate the importance, how golf works is we hit our long drives and our long irons, and we have really big targets for those clubs. We've got a massive fairway, and then you can still hit it into the rough to the right or to the left. So we want to be accurate, but it's not like we have to be that accurate. Then our next target becomes the green, because that's our second shot on most holes for the par fours specifically. When we have the green as our target, it's still big, not as big as for when we teed off, but it's still pretty big. We just have to hit the green. But then we keep getting closer, and maybe we didn't quite hit the green, so now we're chipping, but we're trying to get it close to that hole. And the cup is really tiny, which we all know as golfers. And so that's why our short game needs to be so accurate, and it's so important because we have such a small room for error when we're chipping and when we're putting. So focus on these drills. I know Ashley talked about some really good points about how we can narrow in our focus and get close to the hole or right in.
Perfect. And I'd just like to add, Robyn, is if you do have time to practice and you are coming out to the driving range to hit balls and everything, if you have 30 minutes, we want you spending at least 20 minutes on your short game. So that could be anywhere from, say, 80 yards in for your approach shot and your chipping and putting. It's really important that we put the emphasis on that because that's where you're going to see the biggest result the quickest and have your score reduced the easiest way. So spend the time 20 minutes on your short game and 10 minutes on your long irons and your drivers, and you'll see a big improvement on your score.
Yeah, that's awesome, Ashley, and definitely a very, very valid point. And so, as I had said, our second goal and as our target narrows, we're trying to hit the green in regulation. I wanted to just touch on what that actually means. So if you're playing a par four, a green in regulation would mean that we are allowed 2 shots to get the ball onto the green. And then there's always room for 2 putts. So on a par 5, it allows us 3 shots to get to the green and then 2 putts to get our score of 5. And then on a par 3, you get 1 shot to get onto the green and then 2 putts. So if we don't hit the green, we want to be able to chip the ball super close so that we can get up and down. So up and down means we're going to chip it once, it's going to chip up and then land on the green nice and close to the hole, and then we're going to putt it and it's going to go down into the hole. So that's an up and down. You probably will hear that when you're out on the course. Someone will be like, "Ooh, great up and down," or you're just trying to get the ball up and down into the hole. So we want our chipping to be really accurate so that we don't have as much pressure on our putts. So here's a little video about some proper form and good technique to use when you are chipping. Hi guys, here are some tips to help make you become the best chipper possible. So first thing is ball position. We want the ball to be in the middle of our stance or a little bit closer to our back foot. We want our stance to be narrow as opposed to hitting a full shot and taking that nice wide stance. We want all of our weight to be on our front foot. This one's just here for balance. Our hands will then move forward and become in line with our front leg. Do you notice my front toe is pointing towards my target? From there, when we grip the club, we create a triangle with our arms and our shoulders. That triangle needs to stay intact through the whole swing. As you can see, my weight finished on my front and it stayed on my front the entire time, and my triangle stayed intact. We want to make sure that we squeeze the ball against the ground and have that nice sweeping motion. So again.
So Robyn, that was a perfect description of greens in regulation and what the ideal goal is for a golfer. However, a lot of these ladies are just starting and we don't want to overwhelm them or put too much pressure on them that is the goal. That's the end goal. But what should their goal right now be?
Yeah, that's a great point. And so we didn't want to put pressure on you or make you think that that's actually how you had to score and how your shots had to turn out. But we do want you to be educated on the game and how it works. So that's kind of, Ashley, yes. When you're just starting golf, it's not about your score. And I know we have mentioned this before, and we just really want to reiterate that. We're going to zone in and narrow down things to focus on. And one of those things is simply contact with the ball. Making contact, moving the ball forward, straight is ideal. But definitely at the beginning, we're not worrying about score. We just want to keep advancing that ball closer and closer to the hole. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that's great. And something as silly as just counting how many golf balls you lose and trying to get better and better at that, like it takes the pressure off what your actual score is. And you're going to be playing better the least amount of golf balls you're losing. Like my husband hits at 300 yards. He's an amazing golfer, but sometimes he hits at 300 yards. We don't know where it's going, and then we have to look for golf balls. I would much rather play with a golfer who hits it straight every time and is ready to go. That's the best advice I can give a beginner golfer is have an idea of when you should use your clubs, and we'll cover this next week, but the order that you should use them so that you're ready to go, so that you're not asking what club to use. Should you use this? If you're ready to go and you're hitting it straight, I'll play with you any day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I think too, it kind of ties back into what we talked about last week with the different formats that you can play. So
Yes.
have fun with it. The score really, when you're starting, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
As long as you're having fun and trying to make some solid contact and improving, then I think you'll be happy with whatever result you end up with.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think it's all about setting realistic goals for yourself and attainable goals. And at this point, as a beginner, score and having greens and regulation and those type of things aren't really realistic and probably will frustrate you more. So yeah, attainable goals. Let's focus on the small things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. And you know what, Robyn? I think it's important that people have an idea of what their goals eventually can be. And that's why we wanted you to include that with it, because it's important to know where you can go. But we're just giving you the path to get you there.
Perfect.
Awesome. So we actually had another question this week from one of our viewers named Sarah. She says she's a beginner herself, and she has one club, her 8-iron, that is just her favorite. She hits it all the time and can hit it pretty well, but she's wondering if there's something wrong with that. Ashley and Robyn, do you guys have any answers for this for her?
Yeah, absolutely. When you're chipping, it's important to be confident on what you're doing and what club you're using. So if that's what makes you confident, and Sarah, and you have the best shots with that, stick with it. I personally love my lob wedge, which is a 60-degree wedge. I like to get the ball up. I like to kind of do some flop shots. I like to see it go carry about 80% of the way and only have a little bit of rollout. So that's kind of what gets me fired up. I really like chipping with my lob wedge, so that's my go-to club. But if your 8-iron is what you like, then have at it. But I know, Robyn, you're more of a bump and run girl, aren't you?
Yeah, I like to get that ball as close to the ground as possible, as soon as possible, and let it roll out to the hole. But again, that is preference. So if you have a favorite club and you hit it really well, that's awesome. Keep doing that, because we want you to have those good shots. Essentially, if you can hit one club really well, you should be able to trying to transition that into your other clubs. But definitely, if you ask any golfer, they've got a favorite club, and I don't know what it is, but if you're hitting it well, there's nothing wrong with that. So keep doing that.
And
Awesome.
I'd also like to add that the bump and run is the best chip shot you can learn as a beginner golfer. It's the most forgiving and the quickest one to pick up. It's the most like putting, so it is a really good one to learn early on.
Mm-hmm. And it's also a good shot. Sorry, Robyn?
Go ahead, Britt.
Oh, I was going to say it's also a good shot, if you're in the trees or something, you just want to pitch it back out to the fairway. It kind of has a lot of uses around the hole as well. So
yeah. And then the form that I showed in my chipping video today was definitely what you would use for a bump and run. If you notice, or when you go back and watch again, you will see that my hands finished nice and low to the ground, and the ball didn't pop up too high in the air. So that's a proper form to use for that. And as Ashley said, so the easiest and most simple way to start and get working on your chipping.
That's awesome, Robyn. So we've talked a lot about the short game and being around the greens. And since we're going for such accuracy, we want perfect, pristine conditions. And this takes a lot of effort to maintain. Here's a couple videos from our special guests on how to maintain perfect greens and fix ball marks. Hey everyone, Ashley Gravitt here with Superintendent Kirk Stewart of the Goddard Sunset Golf Course. We're going over how to fix a ball marker, the importance of it, and why we changed cups, and giving you a few etiquette tips to help all superintendents across Canada. Kirk, how are you today?
Good, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. All right, we're going to start with a ball mark. So Kirk, why is fixing a ball marker your biggest pet peeve that golfers don't do?
So there's two reasons. Reason number one is the ball mark is on the green. People putts over, it could throw it off different way and obviously throws the ball off where it's supposed to be. The second reason, the most important, is if you do not fix your ball mark when it lands and makes a mark on the green, it takes 7 to 10 days for that turf to heal, because we're cutting it constantly over top, and it's just, if we continue to fix them right away, the turf will be a lot healthier.
Hi guys, here's how to properly fix a ball mark on a green with the divot tool. We're going to start at the angle where the ball had gone into the ground. So we're going to start back here, and we're going to push that grass back into the middle, slowly and little bits at a time. We want it to look like nothing ever happened. When we fix a ball mark properly, no brown spots will appear. If we lift the roots up into the air with our divot tool, the roots will rip and they won't be able to collect any nutrients to start growing again, and brown spots will pop up everywhere that a ball hit and marked the green. So let's fix them properly.
Okay, now on to the cups. So we change our cups here at the Goddard Sunset every day or every other day depending on how much play we have. Why do you need to change the cups so much?
Well, two reasons. The most important reason is the cups get wore because of obviously being busy. The second reason, if we keep having that thing, it's going to cave in and it's just going to be a disaster. It's going to make the turf very weak around the cup. So we try and move them around. And my philosophy here at Sunset is I usually go a front, back, middle rotation, or vice versa. So I'm never putting the pin in the front 2 consecutive days, just so that area can heal and we can move it to a different spot.
And how long does that turf to heal? Because obviously, like if you have 100 golfers, they're all going to be walking around the same sort of area continuously. So that turf does need time to heal. How long does it take to heal? And that's why you move the tee to the opposite, or the flag to the opposite side of the green.
That's right. So when we change the pin, we'll cut the new pin, replace it, put the old plug back in there, and we put a bit of water on it, and then in 7 days that's pretty much grown back in. It's normal turf. And one of my biggest pet peeves at Sunset is when guys use their putter to pick the ball out, because that really caves the cup in. And now this year with the discs, people are trying to do it. We've had a couple discs crack, and I'm assuming because we cannot touch the pin, people are using it or pounding the disc down. So please respect the disc. Do not use your putter to pull your ball out.
Perfect. Well, that's great. That's some awesome advice, and we really appreciate it. Thanks, Kirk.
Thank you.
So we've covered a lot today on our short game and where we use it around the greens on the course. And I think we really have to remember the importance of respecting the golf course itself and the people who work so hard to keep it in that condition. I know all of our supers are probably at the course 5:30 in the morning, and they go home after dark most nights too. So they work tirelessly to keep the greens especially, but the whole golf course in really, really good condition. So when you come, we just ask that you respect that by doing a few things. And I know that we all have small things that we can all learn and work on to help those people that work there. So Ashley, I think there was one thing in particular that you wanted to speak about there.
Yeah, so every golf course has spent the money to put in cart paths. So we want to make sure that around the greens, you're getting back to the cart path as soon as possible. We want the wear and tear around the greens to be as minimal as possible. So getting your cart back to the cart path and keeping it on the cart path all the way around the green is really important in order for the grass to grow properly and give you that lush feeling that you want, allowing your chip shot to be even better. So keep those carts on the cart path as much as possible.
Awesome.
Yeah, that is a huge point, Ashley. I just want to add that if the carts drive in the same spot over and over again, they flatten the grass, and then your chip is going to be way harder. And not to mention, it's going to look really bad out there. So definitely keep the carts away from the greens, and then in turn also away from the tees. We always just say, if you can keep the carts on the paths around the teeing area and the green, so at the beginning and end of every hole, you can do whatever else you want in the middle. But those are really important areas that our entire staff works super hard to make those really nice for you when you're at those locations.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And I know like some people think that they can drive really, really close to the green, that it's gonna help them, but we just ask, like, be respectful, keep the carts like 20 to 30 yards away from the green, and just walk a little bit. It's not that far to walk, but it does help the actual playing surface a lot to keep it off there.
To just add into that, we do have, most courses do have a flag if you have maybe an issue with a knee or a hip, or you can't walk that far, which we are happy to give because we still want you to be able to play the game. So if you're unable to walk those long distances, we can give you a flag for that. The point of the flag is so that, one, the superintendent doesn't drive by and see that you're so close to the green and come over and maybe get a little bit mad at you, but also so that other people out golfing, they aren't going to hopefully follow what you're doing because they see that you've got that flag on your cart. So just keep that in mind. It's a huge help for us if you just keep those carts away from the greens, but we can accommodate you if you need it.
I would add too is that some of the courses you are going to be playing do have GPS in their carts, which have restrictions on when you get too close to a green, and it'll beep and shut down for you. All you have to do is simply reverse the cart and get back to the cart path. Carts, we have them in Turks, and I cannot believe how lush and how beautiful it is around the green, simply by keeping people getting back to the cart path sooner instead of driving up too closely. So if you do get in that situation, all you got to do is reverse the cart and get back to the cart path.
Awesome. Anything else to add, Robyn?
Yes. So one of my biggest pet peeves is when people don't pick up their feet on the putting green. So first of all, we have seen the greens a couple of times today in our videos. And if you notice, the grass is so short and it looks super soft and super smooth. And that just doesn't happen. The guys work so hard, and girls work so hard to get the greens in that condition. I know we've said this multiple times today, but it is so important. And so what happens often is people will get new golf shoes and they have big spikes on them that haven't been worn down from walking, and they'll walk across the green and maybe they'll just not pick their feet up completely, and it creates a scuff mark. And that scuff mark, it's tearing the grass out of the ground, it's pulling out the roots, and it's going to ruin the green. So if everybody that went on the green, which could be 200 golfers in one day, were not picking up their feet, we're going to have marks everywhere. The other thing is, if we're trying to putt and get into that tiny little hole and there's all these bumps on the green, our ball's just going to go bouncing and we're going to have no hope. So we need to help each other out by making sure if we accidentally scuff our feet, we tap the marks down with our putter to flatten it. But really be conscious of what you're doing with your feet. Pick them up. Another thing that happens is you might hit a putt and it goes like so close to going in, and then it just turns and doesn't go in. And then you go, oh shoot, and you twist. Well, when you twist, your feet move, and if you look down, you will see the marks that your shoes make. Regardless of if you're wearing new spikes, old spikes, or even just running shoes, you're still going to leave marks. So please, please, please make sure that you pick up your feet and watch what you're doing on the greens and tap it down. If you have done it yourself, or if you come onto the green and you see marks, tap those down just for the next person.
Perfect. Thanks, Robyn. Another one that I've seen a little bit is like when you get really excited and you maybe jump because you got it in, or you might run after your ball to kind of like quickly hit it again. Just take your time, and that's something I don't think people really realize they do it, but it helps a lot if you do not do it. And just respect the grass.
Yeah, Absolutely.
One thing that is a big one, and we've already talked about it, is fixing your ball marks. So if you think about each mark that every single golfer is making on the green, like you said, Rob, we can have over 200 people a day playing. So if you think that it takes 7 to 10 days for those marks to heal, at any given time, if no one was fixing their ball marks, there could be over 1,000 little brown circles on the green, and that could completely destroy a green. We could go from 18 holes to now we only have 17 holes in play because this green is damaged. So it's really important to keep fixing those ball marks. And we kind of have a rule, like if you go out to play, you fix your own ball mark and then you fix an extra 6. Or, you know, if you're down there, you might as well just keep going. But so, you know, it helps everyone when we have such high volume by fixing those marks and keeping things really in good shape.
Yeah. And I know I mentioned it sort of before, but if you saw the size of the ball marks that we were fixing in the video, if your ball hits that when it's rolling, that thing is going so far offline. There's no chance for that to go in the hole. So
there's no putting drill that can prepare you for that.
No. That is right. Yeah, that's a great point, Britt.
Awesome. So we covered a lot. You might want to rewatch this and make some notes again, but we're so excited about episode 4. Next week, we're putting it all together in our final video, taking you from the tee to the green. We're so excited about next week, so you don't want to miss it. And don't forget about our giveaways. A reminder that if you like Goddard Sunset, White Squirrel, and Seaforth Golf Club, and you comment or like or share this post, you'll be entered into a draw where you can win 2 green fees and a lesson with myself, 2 green fees and a lesson with Robyn, and 2 green fees and a gift certificate at Brittany's White Squirrel. So you don't want to miss out. Make sure you send your questions because last week's the last chance you can get into them. And we just appreciate you guys watching. And we'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.
See you next week.